Welcome to I Heart Geek. And welcome to another episode of I Heart Geek. WandaVision.
WandaVision.
Well, I kind of feel like this
every
works
episode.
because there's Brady Bunch, and we have the fourth thing. We need like more people and Alice in the middle.
Yeah, you want in the middle.
Here's a story of a bunch of geekies.
I want you to keep going with that.
WandaVision. They were four friends potting all together. And now this song must end.
So we don't get sued. Okay, so I'm Dub, and we're talking WandaVision, and I do stuff. And with me is Chris Giorgetti. We have Miss Courtney, and we have Miss Satomi. How y'all doing today? Everything good?
Fantastic.
Ready to talk some WandaVision.
Let's start. Let's hit the ground running. What is your guys' first impression? This is the first week that it was a standalone. I think that something big's going to happen next week. It's just the only reason why we didn't get to this week. So I'll let you guys go first. Let's start with our people who are kind of new to this. Let's start with Chris or Satomi. What is your first impressions?
I loved it. So fun. I thought they did such a good job of picking up where they left off, moving into this next decade of television. I did see some elements of that girl as well as the Brady Bunch.
Mary Tyler Moore was in there.
Mary Tyler Moore. You know, it was so fun. I have to say, Paul Bettany is just making my life. He's
really good.
So good.
Yeah.
God, he's
funny.
so good. So funny and really facile with shifting between the acting styles of the different eras. But I now have slightly new thoughts and slightly expanded thoughts on my theories from last time. But I love that we got a little more X-Files this time. There was a little more like,
there's questions. There are some questions that definitely need to be answered after this week.
So many
Yes.
Chris, what about you? What struck you with this one?
I loved it, as I love the other two, and I just want to throw out there, I called that they were going to do a Brady Bunch thing.
Yes, you did.
I called it.
Yep.
I called it. And like everything from the intro to the inside of the house just reminded me of the Brady Bunch in 70s television. And I am so invested in this series. So invested that I might actually read the House of M.
You need to.
But I remembered what you guys said about the what to look for going forward, and everything just like clicked faster with that like, you know, these people are not who you think they are.
No one is.
And it just like, it makes sense. I'm like, oh, I see. But yeah, there's some questions that need to be resolved like now.
You're not going to get it. I guarantee you're going to get,
Probably.
I think that from now on, you're going to get reveals as opposed to questions every episode.
Mhm.
You're going to get more questions, but you're going to get more reveals. You haven't gotten any reveals except for the end. Now, I think
that wasn't that big of a reveal, though.
If you didn't know what was going on by then, are you paying attention?
Yeah, you know what though? It's a reveal that's still open. It's a reveal that poses more questions.
Yeah, a lot. Okay,
A lot.
Great.
Okay, Courtney, let's talk. What hit you on this episode just right out of the gate?
Well, I mean, not even addressing any of the comic book stuff that's in there. I'm with everybody else. I love that it was this like giant send up of the Brady Bunch. I got a little Partridge Family in there too. Like the theme song was a little Partridge Family-y for me. And then, you know, there's almost like a bit of the Monkees as well.
Well, there is something in that at the end.
Well, I mean, yes, that is straight from the Monkees.
Yeah.
But like the way things, like some of the way that Vision moved quickly and did certain things, the cuts are very much from the Monkees TV show. So I dug that they're pulling from all these different sitcoms. And I mean, like the send up of her trying to hide her belly
Right.
Mhm.
which is it's classic sitcom where you put on a big coat or you cover it up with files or fruit or whatever.
Which
And
was
it just
hilarious.
it
Yeah.
was so
Yeah.
funny. So funny. Yep. And then like um uh Monica
Rambo?
Geraldine's
Yeah.
over the top Foxy Brown acting except for the times when reality kind of slipped in.
Yeah.
But I have a question for everybody in the panel. Did y'all think your TV skipped that one time? Did you have to double check to make sure that your internet hadn't gone out?
I did.
No, I felt
No.
it coming. I was like, she's gonna rewind. She's gonna rewind. There it is.
Because they hint at it in the recap
Yeah.
that she has the ability to go back in time. And
Yep.
like when that happened, I was like, ooh, that's important.
Well, have you all noticed this? Whenever she gets mad at anybody, they get hurt. She got mad at Dottie, so she got hurt on the glass. People fall over. People. Whenever she gets upset, people get hurt, unless it's Vision, and then she rewinds time.
Who
I don't know if
got
it's
hurt
actually
this time?
no one got hurt.
Nobody got hurt, but that was the rewind because that's who she should have been upset with that time because he
I
was
see what you're saying.
I think it's
no,
more
I think
of
that
I think it's more
Geraldine
of
got hurt. I'm sorry.
I think it's more of when reality creeps in.
Mm-hmm.
That's when something out of the ordinary, out of this sitcom world happens. You know, it's like the minute,
Yeah.
and I mean the acting changes too. Like with Geraldine, when she mentions Pietro, the acting style, the 70s, 60s
Stops.
acting style drops immediately. And she mentions Pietro, and that's when, okay, boom, well, I can't have that. It's the same thing with Vision when he goes, well, I think there's something wrong. The acting changes, the reality changes. And I think when reality starts to step in, that's when Wanda does something. I don't know if it's her getting mad at anybody, because I don't think she was mad at Dottie. She was confused because the radio's talking to her. But reality was stepping in because the radio was talking to her.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough. Okay. No, there's nothing wrong with that. I want to throw out my weird prediction. This isn't from the comic book, but this is what I think is going on. The animal that you see every episode, starting with the lobster and going to the cat, which is Old Scratch, goes to the stork, who is not controlled and is in red, in the red smoke, and is because he takes the babies, is Mephisto. That's going to be my.
Now, Satomi,
I know
and
that doesn't
Chris,
mean anything to you guys yet.
Mephisto is the Marvel version of the devil.
Yeah.
He is the one that makes a deal with Johnny Blaze in
Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider. He messes around with Doctor Strange a lot. He is also. Do we want to talk about the kids?
Let's wait till next.
Don't talk about the kids yet. Don't talk about the kids yet.
Wait,
because I have thoughts on kids.
Well, there's a Mephisto thing later. We'll talk about that then.
Yeah, but you can.
Yeah, that's who he is.
But if you know why I think that the stork thing was really important with that, that's why I think. I know a lot of people think that Ralph is, and I can see some thoughts on that too. But I'm kind of leaning on the animals. That's just Mephisto popping up every episode. Ralph always looks. Oh, Ralph! He always looks better in the dark, just like the devil. You never see him.
Ralph is Agnes's husband. You guys.
You did see him once.
Nope.
We saw him.
Never seen Ralph.
You have not seen Ralph.
Never seen Ralph.
It's Agnes's husband. She's the one who's always saying how she's always sort of crabbing about him.
Yeah.
But no, we see him for a quick second because she asks if these earrings make me look fat.
That was Dottie.
Oh, that was Dottie. Never mind. I take it back.
And did you love that the wannabe Schwimmer is married to Dottie?
He's so funny.
That killed me. I don't know why that brought me.
Yeah, no. We've never seen Agnes's husband.
Right.
And that leads into who Agnes probably is.
Being what we think she is, she would be kind of married to the devil.
Yeah.
So if it is who we think it is.
Well, and I have theories about Agnes too. I don't know if we want to get into that.
Well, I say,
There's a lot
we're
going on
trying
this
to
episode.
we're trying to spread it out. None of this is spoilers. This is all speculation at this point.
Yeah, it's all
So
speculation.
don't take any of this as spoilers, guys. This is
Wonderful.
just kind of what I think is going on with the limited information that we have. Fair enough?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Okay,
Mhm.
so where do we want to go now, Courtney?
Well, I mean, overall, I mean, there's a lot going on in the episode. We've got the twins,
Mhm.
Billy and Tommy, who
Wicca
are born in
and-
a single episode,
Yep.
which kind of goes along with their creation. We've got more reality setting in this time than the previous week. I
Way
think.
more.
So, well, I guess I'm the best place I want to start with is I want to know what everybody thinks. Do we still think the same of who's controlling it as we did last week, or is it different now?
Let's start with you two.
It's
Chris?
it's different. When you saw her get thrown through like the bubble, I was just like, oh, this is more complicated than than like, I know we had that theory like Wanda was creating everything, but you know, she's being confined in this bubble with like the FBI or whoever that was. Oh no, she had
Sword.
the
Sword.
She had
Sword.
sword, yeah, because she had
You
the
guys can know what that is.
um,
It's sword. It's shield on
It's Shield's
steroids.
daddy. Okay.
It's another
yeah, because
option.
like because Wanda's like, what is that symbol on your neck? And I'm like, and it's a necklace of the sword.
And she
And
knew
I'm
what
like,
it was.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and the one thing I found was interesting was when they're like, remind me of her name again, Geraldine.
Geraldine?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The people in Westview were like, she doesn't have a home, and I
Mhm.
was just like, oh,
And she's new to the area,
yeah,
which goes along with their theory that she flew herself in there, or
Yeah.
was told to fly in there.
Mhm.
yeah.
So tell me, how about you? Do we think?
So here is my current theory.
Okay.
Okay, my current theory is that part of it is still the same as last week. I believe that Wanda is creating this reality. She's in massive PTSD because she's had a lot of trauma in her life. So how she's sort of coping with it is by all of the shows that she grew up on, by creating these realities in the shows she grew up on. But she is being manipulated. I believe she's being manipulated by Hydra because the positive commercials always have a Hydra reference. This one had that Calgon take me away if you need to get
Mhm.
away from it all.
Mm-hmm.
And I was dying. That commercial just made me pee my pants because I remember those. And when they're talking about how suspicious Geraldine is, they mention that she came in. She doesn't have a home. She's new here, and doesn't have a husband. So I think Hydra has manipulated Wanda to create this place, and they're sort of going to pull an Amy Pond where they're trying to create more superpowered babies that they can raise themselves and manipulate. That is my current theory.
That's a good
Oh.
one.
That kind of goes along with my theory. And Deb and I talked a little bit about this. I think this show is the way that the MCU is going to be introducing mutants into
Thank
the
God.
MCU.
Oh,
We don't have mutants yet. And one of my theory, my theory, yes, I think Wanda's controlling it to a certain extent, but I do believe there's a force controlling Wanda.
Mhm.
Whether that's Hydra or Mephisto, we'll talk about that. We'll find out.
The other
But-
question. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to quickly say, because I went back and I rewatched Ultron, because this is supposed to be standalone, but everything is connected in the MCU. That's the way it
Yeah.
works.
I'm giving a
We
hint right
don't-
now.
We don't ever really know if we know that Strucker did experiments on the twins, Pietro and Wanda. And we know that they volunteered for those experiments. No one ever specified if they had powers before he got them. So it's very possible that they're mutants.
Like
I
one
don't-
Wolverine.
Yeah, there may be a way this may also be part of the way that they're going to introduce X-Men into the MCU now that Disney owns it, because in one version of reality, Wanda and Pietro's father is Magneto.
which is the best version ever.
Yeah, there's different versions, but that's one. I believe this is one.
That's the most widely accepted. Let's be honest.
Yeah, that's the most widely accepted version.
Yes, please.
So I think this
That is amazing.
I think we may find out that Wanda and Pietro had powers all along because they're mutants, and this is Hydra trying to capitalize it, Sword trying to capitalize on it. One quick thing: the Hydra soak, the Calgon Take Me Away, that may very
Coulson?
well be it may very well be a throwback to Coulson. In Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., they referenced the Hydra's blue soap, which it's a blue soap that Hydra has loaded with chemicals that plants false memories in the user's mind.
If that was a theory of his, it wasn't proved.
Oh.
That's when he was going a little
Yes,
nuts.
but it could
He
be a
was going
callback to
nutsoid.
that.
Yeah.
I think I'm like a season behind. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't remember that, and I watched Shield, but okay.
Okay, look, Chris, I know you have something new that you want to go on here, but I
Yes,
want to
what's
go
up,
back
Chris?
to where we were talking on that for one second.
It's related to what
Okay, go ahead.
Courtney just said. Yeah, my ears perked up when they mentioned they just name dropped Ultron. I'm like, I know. I was like, I know that name. That's a bad guy. And how
Ultron's
does
not doing it?
Yeah. So okay, that's all I wanted to know.
If that was your question, Ultron.
Yes.
Ultron's
You
gone.
know,
at this
Ultron's
point.
not doing it.
Yeah.
Okay, no. Okay, well, you asked if my theory has changed, is who is controlling everything, and
Yeah,
yes,
so what's your
it has
theory?
changed. I think that while they're setting up Wanda to look like the villain, she is just the loaded weapon. That's all she is. She is pretty innocent in this. She's being pointed in a direction. I think that Doctor Strange is the one that has the force field around, and I think that there is 3 to 4 different factions inside. One of them being Mephisto, one of them being the X-Men, one of them being Hydra.
Sword and
Because
Hydra.
they are trying to, the other
Avengers
ones
as
are,
well.
are trying to escape. The neighbors are trying to escape. So
No,
Mhm.
no.
Is-
They're
yeah,
trying to knock down the walls. There's a difference.
Is that why he was cutting through
Yes.
the
Yeah.
wall?
I like
Okay,
that
that makes
theory. I
sense.
didn't look at it
Bermuda
that way, but I
reference.
like that theory.
And I think they're all fighting
Yeah.
for control. And of course, Strange can't do
Mhm.
anything about it because he has to maintain. Because if he lets it go, the whole world's gone. Which, again, going back to House of M, you'll know why that's a big deal.
Yeah, I do like the fact that you mentioned Doctor Strange, because I was thinking about that, because
They're not going to use Professor X.
Wanda is supposed to be in the next Doctor Strange movie, and it would make sense for him to be peripherally involved in WandaVision. So I like that thought.
So that was my thought of that, and I wanted to. I said that's not a spoiler. I don't know that. That's not from the books, but I really kind of put that together. And I think that's what's going on, and I think they're
Yeah, I
all
agree with that.
in and out. The ones that are stuck in there are stuck in there. The Geraldine was put in there by Sword.
yeah, and then there's the
And she's the one
B-Man
that's
who kind
doing
of
all
made
the-
his way in from the sewers. So
They
they're
got kicked out.
They're people from different factions trying to get in.
Mm-hmm.
Dub, that makes sense.
Yep.
Good
So-
boy.
So this I like Dub's theory. So now going forward, is it fair to say like I should be watching this with the notion that there are a bunch of people trying to get Wanda for
I
like
think
their own devices?
For control.
Yeah.
Wanda's in control, but she's not at all
Right.
Well,
Yeah,
and
she's
Wanda is arguably the most powerful
psychic mutant ever.
being
Hmm.
in the Marvel universe. She just can't control what she's got.
She's an Omega level.
Yeah, I mean, she's like arguably the most powerful. Like, she could have taken out Thanos all by herself.
If she would have known
Um,
what she was doing, but
If she knew how to
she was
control
never
it.
I was
pointed
like,
in
there
the right
was that
direction.
fight.
She was
Yeah,
never
'cause she
pointed
was
in the right
winning.
direction.
Yeah, and the only reason he was able to get her off is because he had his ships rain fire on everybody. But she was winning. She was crushing him. So yeah, Chris, I'd say that's a good way to look at it, because with her power level, anybody would want to use her as a weapon or have her as an asset. So you've got all those factions trying to get her.
Again, this is just a guess, but this seems to make
It
sense
makes
to
sen-
me.
That's a
Yeah.
pretty good. That's a pretty epic guess. I like it.
I'll take it.
I like it.
Can I throw in one more Easter egg before we go on? Because this is the fish pants.
Fish pants, yes.
When
Fish
the
pants.
stork, who I do think is Mephisto, is chewing at the fish on these pants, it's not because they're fish. Who was the first mutant?
You're gonna have to tell him.
Okay. Do you know, Courtney?
Yeah.
The first mutant is Namor, the fish man.
Namor. We've not seen Namor
We have
in
not
the
seen
MCU,
Namor.
though.
Okay, I was about
Now,
to say I don't.
Namor is he's the Marvel equivalent of Aquaman. Namor came first, though. He's actually considered the first superhero.
Period. And
Yes.
he's
Oh,
wings on his
really?
feet. Yeah.
Yeah, he predates Superman. He's like 38, I think,
Somewhere in there.
or 32, something like that. Yeah. So he's the Marvel equivalent of Aquaman.
You guys are blowing my mind right now.
So now, why that's important with the stork, which would be Mephisto? He does not want the X-Men to come about. So what's he doing? He's attacking any version of the mutants.
Namor.
Because the mutants. And what happens?
that
What
would
happens when the
be-
mutants are the ones that take it, thinking mess with Namor more than, or
And I'm just going to randomly throw this out there just because you got me thinking. I actually had to look when the doctor said he was going to Bermuda. I had to look to see if that's where, because Namor is
Bermuda
basically
Triangle,
Prince of Atlantis.
Yeah.
Where it is. Because also in Endgame, because there's been a lot of speculation that Namor is going to show up in the universe MCU at some point in time.
And he's a
Because
butthead.
it's been hinted at. He's a jerk. It's been hinted at several times. It's fleeting, but in Endgame, when Nat is talking to Okoye, she mentions that there was an earthquake in the middle of the ocean. Everybody just kind of puts that off as an earthquake. Lots of MCU fans are saying, okay, well, I think we're getting Namor.
Yeah.
So if that's the case,
that's just more to it.
That's not WandaVision related. I'm sorry I went off on a tangent.
No, I have to say, I think it is, because it goes into this thing of I definitely get to the point where I sort of get tired of like, how many more versions and how many more movies or how many more, but it's actually something that made me very excited, because because now we're tying in, everything's tying together, and that creates a really amazing universe, and I'm excited. Keep going. I like it.
The X-Men, it's a game changer. I think they've taken the Avengers stuff about as far as they can take it. I know Marvel fanboys get mad at me, but I think they've taken the Avengers stuff about as far as they can go. I think they need to go with the X-Men, which is the superior property, which is why they started with those. And I know that Courtney disagrees with me, but
it's okay.
Fair enough.
We agree to disagree on that.
Fair enough. Okay, go ahead, Courtney. Where else you want to go on this?
Oh my gosh, I think we should talk about the elephant or elephants in the room. Let's talk about the babies.
Yay!
Billy and Tommy, or
Wicca and
soon to be Wiccan and Speed.
Yes, they exist. Maybe. Now the fact that they use those two names makes me think, okay, well, they're not going to go strictly off House of M. However, maybe they will.
I think they're diverging off of House of M.
Yeah.
But so, guys, babies, thoughts, and then we'll tell you.
They're cute.
There's two of them.
I thought it was one of the ugliest babies I've ever seen.
My
ugly child.
As we saw in the episode, she went from being not pregnant to twins in like 5 seconds. Yeah. So I wonder, does that have anything to do with the fact that they are mutants? If we're going to think of this in the X-Men, are they born, or do they have powers? I'm assuming, as you've hinted,
names like Wicca and Speed. I would assume so.
It'll all depend on how they're going, but if they end up being Wicca and Speed, and they end up being real and not just creations in this Wanda world, they will have powers. They will have powers that mimic Wanda and Pietro.
But I do have a very important question on that. So how can a human and a synthroid have a baby?
How does that work?
Well, when a man and a woman really love each other.
No, but that's the important part. A man and a woman, and that's a mutant and a synthroid.
And I think that's where we get our Mephisto connection.
Mm-hmm.
Another Mephisto connection.
Or, I mean, because Wanda has that power to manipulate reality, so
Mm-hmm.
and and she tried to get rid of the stork several times with like the scarlet smoke, and the stork stayed. So I was like, huh.
It could also be misdirection, because that could be she just lost control of the power.
Mm-hmm.
But if
I'm
you're saying
trying to
that
give you both sides on this.
yeah. But like, I'm thinking now, because you said before she's the most powerful
Arguably, yeah.
person, then what does the stork, I'm probably reading into it too much, but it just like, what is the significance
What
of
does what does the stork do?
It delivers the
brings
bebes.
It brings
babies.
babies. Huh. Okay. Y'all
No,
can
I
take
think
that for whatever you think it's
yeah.
worth.
I'm kind of, yes, it could be something more, but I mean, it also could be that she did lose control of her powers, because when she was having the baby, stuff was spinning around everywhere.
Yeah.
And this show is
the
showing a
butterflies
lot of
showed up.
misdirection.
Exactly. I mean, and that's why I'm hesitant to say the babies will turn out to be Wiccan and Speed, because maybe they're part of her delusion. Maybe they are really real. Maybe they are how they introduce mutants into because Wiccan and Speed are part of the Young Avengers,
Mm-hmm.
which is another.
Which is a lot of years from now, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, but we're
A
only on
lot of
episode
years.
3, so it's like, I want to say they're going to be Wiccan and Speed, but then I'm like, I don't. We're only on episode 3. It's very possible that they don't end up being anything.
Is it possible that those names are just inspired future names for 2 children that are born?
Yeah. But I mean, that's what's, I think, fun about the show, and I'll ask everybody if you think it's the same, is like, there's so much misdirection and there's so much sleight of hand, and it's fascinating to kind of fall down that rabbit hole to try to find, okay, well, is this what they're giving us? And we know from the movies that the Marvel universe, via the film and television, they will lie until right up in the very moment when they tell you something is happening. So tell me, what do you think? Is that what are you liking on that surface region of it? Do you like the misdirection? Do you wish it would be a little bit more obvious?
I love it. I love it. I love having to guess. I love having to figure it out. I love not knowing what's going on. Not not to put too fine a point on it, but a lot of times I'm like, oh, this is gonna happen. And then it happens and I'm like, well, that was fun, but I relish the surprise, so I'm down. If they want to keep doing that, keep doing it.
Chris?
Ditto to pretty much everything Satomi just said. Like her, I love having to guess, and I love the misdirection, because as someone who hasn't read a lot of comic books, I'm finding that I'm liking this particular niche of the MCU more and more as each episode comes out. I say go for it. Keep leering us in one direction, and then being like, oh, it's actually this. I feel like it's more enjoyable that way for someone like me who hasn't read a ton of comic books.
Can I ask one question is what I'm hoping they're shooting for with this? As Chris and Satomi are not real huge comic book readers, does this make you want to actually go buy the comic book and read it?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna read House of M after this. Yeah, most definitely.
Because that's what I'm hoping that they finally figured out. We need to do this because comic books is dying, y'alls. We need to do something to boost those sales. You know, we have $1 trillion a year going out in these movies, and the comic books are dying. So I'm kind of hoping that that's what they're doing, is trying to push more with the comics. And it seems like to me, it's working for a lot of people. A lot of people I've talked to want to read the comics now because they're not getting it in other places.
I will say I think it'll lean toward graphic novel versus
Yeah.
like serial.
Well, that's
Just
been going that way
because-
for years.
Yeah. Because we don't like to wait. We want to
No.
binge read it.
Oh, don't binge read it, by the way.
I
Make it last at least a week.
I think
Okay.
the sheer number of Easter egg articles that come out every week with each release of an episode just shows you that people really want to know what all the little details are
Yeah.
that are behind it. So I think it is capturing imaginations because it is so different from what we've seen from the MCU so far. But
I
it's,
actually
you know,
like
everybody likes a
that.
good puzzle.
Yeah.
And something I heard, I don't know how true it is. Print comics is pretty much dead, but the Comixology app, I heard their Marvel stuff right now is selling better than it's sold in years.
Wow.
Well,
Interesting.
people want to
This
know
is
who
what we
Agnes
need.
is. They want to
Yeah.
know who Agnes is. They
You-
want to learn more about
You don't want to
Wanda herself.
You don't want to know who Agnes is. Trust me, you don't.
I think it's pretty much, for the comic book people out there, it's pretty much cemented this episode that she is who we all
Yeah.
think she is. I
We'll
don't know
give you
if
another
I'm
week
not
till we
gonna-
say it.
Yeah, we're not going to say anything because I
Don't
think
say it
you
until
guys
we
are.
find out in the show.
Yeah, I think you guys are enjoying who. Yeah, I'd like figure it out on your own. But I think based on
Well,
some
they
stuff
won't.
that I saw today, because I rewatched it before we did the show. Based on some stuff, I think she is exactly who we think she is.
Well,
so that's for the folks that know. But for the rest of you, you get to wait and find out.
I don't know if I already said this, but I thought this was an interesting little, if that is who we say it is, who we think it is, and the whole Ralph thing is that's who we say it is, because he always looks better in the dark. And then you look at the pregnancy book that Vision was reading. It doesn't look like a regular pregnancy
I know,
book.
it looks like a necromancer.
It looks like a necromancy thing,
Yep.
but it's got an outline of a red body, and everything is dark because he looks so much better in the dark.
You're hitting on that, and there's more to it than just that.
I know, but that's I don't want to give
You blew
that.
Chris's mind. Look.
I don't want to give that away yet.
So one more thing I want to ask everybody about is, what did we think of Daydream Believer as to being the end credit song?
That was the answer to
As Maria
everything.
gets
Sorry.
shot, or Monica gets shot out of Westview.
Because she can't believe the daydream anymore, baby.
Right? Do we think? Yeah, maybe we think it has another meaning. I mean, obviously it has another meaning, but what is that meaning? What is that meaning? Who is the Daydream Believer? What do we think, Chris?
I think that was the perfect way to end the episode. I think I can't remember the lyrics off the top of my head, but just thinking about it right now, they did that on purpose. They totally did that on purpose, and I'm almost 90% sure it has another meaning. What the meaning is, I don't know. But I can't wait to find out.
Tommy, how about you?
Well, first of all, I do want to say I love it when cheerful, happy music is played
In a moment of darkness.
in a moment of darkness where you're like, what the actual heck?
What the Ralph?
What the Ralph is going on here? What the Ralph? I love that so much. So when that started playing and I'm bopping and things are very strange, that made me very happy. And I think it just goes back to my theory that this is Wanda's daydream and she's being, manipulated into having it and creating it. But I could be wrong, and I would be delighted if I'm wrong and it's something I'm not predicting. But I would also be delighted if I'm right.
Dub?
I don't want to say.
Okay, you're not saying anything.
And that's not me being like, oh, I know stuff and I'm holding it from you. I don't want to say yet because I think that it'll spoil it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
My
you're
own
right. But you
In
might
my
not be right.
opinion, I'm trying
Yeah.
not to, and I'm pretty sure I know this, so that's why I'm not saying anything.
Yeah.
Maybe in a week or two it'll come a little clearer and I can say more. And again, that's not me like, oh, I'm hoarding information, because I hate people that do that. But also, I think that the journey is the journey, and if you're along for the journey and you're not reading the spoilers and all that stuff, you need to enjoy it. And I think that that's what we're trying to do on this show.
Absolutely.
Remember,
And try to explain what you've seen, not what you're gonna see.
Mm-hmm. And remember, if you read the Easter egg stuff, guys, take everything with a grain of salt because it's not always right. Yeah, there's some stuff out there that it's like,
So
I'm not
bad.
sure where they got that from.
And and you have to also understand in the industry when things get leaked, there are false scripts written all the time. Like if people audition for stuff, those are especially something that's as secretive as the MCU. A lot of times those sides are not actually in the show. So
And
people get misleading information all the time.
can I give you one kind of a behind the scenes thing I read? They only leaked the first 3 episodes to people that do the websites and all that stuff, to all the critics and everything else. Only the first 3. Nothing else has been leaked. So take that
Nice.
for what it's worth. But I think this is next week is the week I'm looking forward to, because this is the week I think that the Pandora's box will be opened next week, and I think it's going to be growing pains.
This is
Oh,
this is one of
Or family ties.
Yeah.
yep. Or
A lot of
Small
sweater
Wonder.
vests.
Yes.
This is one of the first shows that I've totally avoided all of like the "did you see the 75 Easter eggs and what it means" articles and videos on YouTube. Like I feel like most of them are wrong half the time, and they like,
And so are we.
yeah.
Yeah.
But the difference between us and like some of these like articles and YouTubers is like, if they get it wrong, they'll be like, "Oh well, I disagree," and they get really hoity-toity
Ugh.
about it.
No, we're wrong all the
We're
time. We
wrong.
enjoy it.
Yeah. I like being wrong, and
We're
you know,
on the journey.
yeah, I love, I, as you said, like I'm enjoying the ride of this show.
Me too. So I have one rumor mill thing I'm going to mention, but it is a rumor. It is not an established thing. It could just be baloney. So don't come at me, guys, if it's not right. I'm just throwing it out. Apparently, the Spanish actor who does the voiceover or the dubbing work for Evan Peters as Quicksilver in the X-Men movies tweeted out something that he would be once again being the voice of Evan Peters for Quicksilver in an upcoming TV show. However, that has been deleted at this point in time, and he's locked his account down.
He just got fired.
Well, that's the thing. But if it's true, that means we might see Evan Peters as Quicksilver, as Pietro, which might work in conjunction with the fact that the next Doctor Strange movie, which has already been confirmed to have Wanda in it, is called Doctor Strange and the Multiverse. So maybe not. Don't yell at me if it's not true. I just wanted to throw that out because
Everything is pointed that way, that we are going to see the multiverse. And I, for one, this is the Doctor Who of the Marvel universe. This makes it so this can go on forever. This is why we can have 20 Spider-Men and still enjoy it. This is why, and the DC universe, this is why we can have Michael Keaton and Christian Bale in the same movie coming up. The multiverse is a beautiful thing.
And
I think it's a real thing.
That would be a way to introduce, and since Disney now owns X-Men, the rights to X-Men again, finally, they're not
about
Sony.
Freaking time.
Disney has control to use the character of Quicksilver should they want to.
And the word mutant.
It's a rumor. And it was only because of one tweet, because of one Spanish actor who's now on lockdown, which means Marvel got to him and he's in trouble. But
and which means that they could have changed everything after that.
Yeah. The minute is that all of a sudden we're not gonna see Quicksilver. So that's just that. If you have thoughts though, put them below, guys, or hit us up on Facebook. I want to thank everybody on our panel for today. Dub, Satomi, Chris. I can't wait until next week's episode. And just for our rock stars out there, we have a spanky and sparkly new website that we want you guys to check out. It's at iHeartGeekShow.com. Check it out. We have a blog on there. We have our pictures. We look super cute. Well,
Some
Dub
of us
does, but the rest of us do.
Some of us do.
And don't forget, we have all of our social media links of Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, all that good stuff.
Discord.
Which is also on the website if you wanted to grab it straight from there instead of individually going to it. Remember, the keyword is iHeartGeekShow on all of those. .com, and it's iHeartGeekShow everywhere else. And I'm Courtney, and I'm going to turn it over to Dub to close us out.
Okay, thanks. We'll see you guys next week, and keep on geeking on, guys.
You have been listening to the latest episode of the iHeart Geek Show. Make sure you visit our website at www.iheartgeekshow.com. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And if you check us out on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And keep on geeking on to all of you geek rock stars.